Welcome to KMNH, Kids Making the News Happen.
Hi, I'm Toby, and welcome to KMNH, Kids Making the News Happen, Weekend Edition.
Astronomers recently spotted what they describe as a kilonova that was so bright they can't explain it. If you don't know what a kilonova is, then it's what happens when two neutron stars or a neutron star and a black hole merge with each other. This one, however, was so bright that it might have been a magnetar, a supermagnetic neutron star colliding with a neutron star, creating a far more bright explosion. More research has to be done to determine the source of this unusual astronomical phenomena.
This KMNH segment was sponsored by Christopher Pawlowski and Laura Vogan. Thank you for your support.
The Arecibo radio telescope in Puerto Rico suffered a second major structural failure this past week when one of the main cables that anchors it to one of its support towers broke, sending debris crashing down onto the 1,000-foot diameter main dish. This comes after a similar cable failure in August resulted in serious damage. The former director, David Campbell, said that this is without a doubt the worst accident to ever happen to the observatory in its over half a century history. The telescope was the largest diameter telescope dish until 2016, when it was beaten by China's Aperture Spherical Radio Telescope, which is more than 1,600 feet in diameter. Unlike a backyard telescope that magnifies visible light, astronomers use radio telescopes to study distant astronomical objects by the radio waves they emit. The University of Florida, who helps operate the observatory, is committed to repairing the damage, but the first step is to secure the site to prevent any further damage.
We want to thank everyone that bought Sidewinder Coffee during their fundraising for Happen. And big thanks to Sidewinder too, because Happen received a donation from them for $435. And we know you love their Colombian El Carmelo coffee because it sold out completely. The next time you are in Sidewinder, please thank them for supporting Happen and our community, and keep supporting local businesses like Sidewinder that support Happen and our community. We would like to thank Henry Brown for supporting this broadcast of Kids Making the News Happen.
Why is a sandwich called a sandwich? Well, the combo of meats and cheese or peanut butter and jelly between two slices of bread is named after the wealthy 18th century English nobleman John Montagu, the 4th Earl of Sandwich, a town in the southeast coast of England. It turns out that old John was known to be a bit of a gambler and found that when he ate meat with his bare hands, the greasy food would interrupt his card games. So he asked his kitchen servants to tuck the meat between two pieces of bread so he could eat and play cards at the same time. Over time, the sandwich became a popular way to eat meat with your bare hands, and the noun became a verb, to sandwich, which means to insert or squeeze something between two other things. Now, typically, any food item shoved or squeezed in between two slices of bread is called a sandwich. So what's the difference between a sandwich and a hoagie, hero, or sub? Well, traditionally, a sandwich has a top and bottom slice of bread with all the fixings sandwiched in between. But a hoagie, hero, or sub usually has the whole length of a loaf of bread. And from our research, the hoagie has many stories to its creation, but almost everyone agrees that it started in the 1920s in Philadelphia as a large loaf sandwich packed with cold cuts known as a hoagie. Some believe that it was the thick Philly accent that made visitors think they were saying hoagie instead of hoggy, and that's how it changed names. The sub is easy. It came from a bread loaf shaped like a submarine, and the hero was named after the food columnist in 1936 who wrote about a sandwich so big that you had to be a hero to eat it.
Listen to what customers are saying about the baked pop-up at Dojo.
Oh, Doug makes the best biscuits in the world. Yeah, there's nothing like Doug's biscuits.
Doug Faulkner has been a pastry chef longer than I have been alive, and he has taken his talents and experience to create a Saturday morning menu filled with homemade biscuits, sandwiches, assorted pastries, and something I didn't know about called a kolache.
It was just meant to be a temporary thing, something to extend our season. Today is our last day for the pop-up. We are trying to figure out a way to do a pre-order, so maybe we'll come back in December.
We really like that it's a neighborhood, like a little local business.
You know you love what you do if you get up at 2:30 a.m. on Saturday mornings to start work.
I get up at 2:30 for this because baking requires a lot of time.
Yes, that's what time the biscuits start baking to feed the long lines of customers at Dojo Gelato.
Today I got 2 orange croissants and 2 scones and bourbon raisin schnecken.
A kolache is a yeast-raised pastry, sort of like a Danish. It's fruit-filled, yummy goodness. Keep your eyes out. You never know what we're gonna do here at Dojo Gelato.
Kids Making the News Happen was made possible in part by the support of Kathy Fletcher of Fletcher Realty. Thank you.
In 2017, members of the Clomperu crime group in eastern Romania broke into a warehouse in London and stole hundreds of rare books, totaling over $3.3 million in value. However, the best part is how they got in. First, they cut a hole in the perimeter fence, then climbed onto the roof of the warehouse, cut a hole in the skylight, and then lowered themselves into the building with ropes to avoid the sensors on the doors. They targeted the most valuable books and tossed the less rare volumes aside while they were still in the warehouse. The men were arrested in September of this year, and the books were located under the floor of a home in rural Romania, and then given back to the rightful owners. It was lovely to see the joy of each victim being reunited with these irreplaceable books, said Detective Inspector Andy Durham in an interview with Reuters.
That's all for today's KMNH Weekend Edition. We would like to thank our viewers and sponsors for their support. If you would like to sponsor a KMNH segment, please go to happeninc.org and click on the donate page, and don't forget to leave a note saying that you want to make it happen by being a KMNH sponsor. Have a great weekend, and we will see you back here on KMNH, Kids Making the News Happen.